There's no sponsor that I use more while I'm awake than NordVPN.com/Fightful. Man, this is like the Swiss Army knife, the multi-tool of applications. It does a little bit of everything. You always get a great deal at NordVPN.com/Fightful. You can listen to your favorites abroad. You can shield your data from snoops and criminals, protect yourself on public Wi-Fi, and it works on all your devices and operating systems. It doesn't end there. Change your virtual location and then get pay-per-views at a much more affordable price, TV services at a much more affordable price. You got a password manager, a file encryption tool, threat protections, and on top of that, 24/7 tech support. So if for some reason you don't know exactly how it works, NordVPN.com/Fightful will help you learn how to do it. Check it out, NordVPN.com/Fightful. What's up, you guys? Welcome to Fightful. Sean Ross Sapp here with some news I'm not really that excited to talk about from FightfulSelect.com. Of course, we always appreciate your service there and all that. I'll try to explain to you our process of sort of revealing that news. There are WWE cuts today. At least internally, according to WWE, the 3 cuts we're about to talk about are the ones to be announced today. Now, when I say that, I feel like I always have to follow up because the natural question always for everyone is, are more coming? Are more coming? They claim there aren't more coming. But does that mean there aren't more coming today, now, this week, this month? I don't know. However, any accounts that you see over the next however long saying, yeah, they've got more planned in whatever, then they're probably not accurate. That's not the way that this news sort of emerges. And what I'll request of our chat, we try to cultivate a very nice, caring community as best we can. I know my social media conduct doesn't always reflect that, but do not celebrate these people losing jobs or fantasy book other people losing jobs. And if you're going to do it, don't do it here in our chat, please. We would prefer you not do that. We can't do our jobs without the wrestlers doing their jobs. So we would appreciate, show them a little bit of kindness, compassion, all that. I mean, livelihoods, adjusting, being changed here. So there's a lot to get into right now. And this is a not fun situation, but Indi Hartwell, Tegan appear to have been released. Baron Corbin appears that he was told that his contract will not be extended and it is expiring soon. That was made clear to me that Tegan and Indi Hartwell have 90-day non-competes attached to their departures. I don't know when Baron Corbin's is up. This is a situation of them letting him know that his deal would not be extended. So we'll go through each one of these, talk about some of the things that they have done and perhaps, where we can see them end up. Tegan Knox's one, I would get questions about her all the time because she has not been on TV in months. I mean, the last televised match she had was April 1st of this year. And before that, it was February. Before that, it was January. She wasn't on TV a lot. She hadn't done any dark matches in over 3 months. She hadn't done main event. She hadn't worked live events outside of that Europe tour that was after her televised match. I had not heard that she was injured or anything like that. I just hadn't heard of her being used. And, it's easy to look at her career and say, oh, she's injury prone, all that. Well, now they had her and she's effectively released. Now that what comes of her after this remains to be seen. She'll be 30 next month, plenty in the tank. Fantastic in-ring performer, obviously. Signed with WWE, I want to say 7.5 years ago. So she's had plenty of experience under her belt and unfortunately experienced some injuries along the way as well. Indi Hartwell just turned 28, another person, a lot left in the tank. Out of Australia, has been signed with WWE for 5 years. Of course, sort of peaked from a storyline standpoint in The Way in NXT, became NXT Tag Team Champion along with Candice LeRae, and NXT Women's Champion as well. So I mean, like, she was able to do some things in NXT that at least showed some confidence in her along the way. And I mean, she was, gosh, I think she's the last person to vacate a title like that in NXT because she got drafted to Raw. And I think she had a foot injury when that happened. But you see it now, and it's like they never really had much for her to go off of when she came up. Ryan says Corbin was hot and they wanted him to tag again. So let's talk about that. Had this release of Baron Corbin happened years ago, I would have looked at it and said, not a performer that I find particularly compelling, interesting, or good in the ring. I liked his tag team with Apollo Crews. I really liked his tag team with Braun Breaker. And I thought that he got downright good in the ring. And I know that some of you may scoff and say, oh, yeah, but I remember listen, go watch the match that he had with Carmelo Hayes on SmackDown when he got brought back. And I looked and I was like, okay, he's finally adapted and changed up his offense. That it really felt like that NXT run lit a fire underneath him. And he told me personally, as Demon Diva confirms, End of Days is a top tier finisher. It's a great finisher. Deep Six is a great move as well. But he is a guy, he told me that he didn't necessarily want to team with Apollo when it was first pitched to him. And then he thought about it and he's like, okay, I'm going to make the best of this. And I thought that they could have done something that would have effectively made that team someone that could have, at least conjured up some reactions, some sort of push, some sort of use on the main roster. Somebody says, usual non-compete. Does Barons have a 90-day? Listen, Barons is up when his contract is up. I just don't know when that is. Tegan and Indi will be free agents in 90 days. But yeah, I'm disappointed that after Baron Corbin got way better, that's when they released him. Like, it's it's like they shoved a character down our throat and had the worst storylines ever. Then when he got really good, they're like, all right, now goodbye. It was clear they never saw it with Indi, whatever it was. They didn't see it with her. Despite the fact that I thought that the turn with Candice was really good. I thought the way was very good. They had just started doing some stuff with Indi Hartwell very recently as well. I thought that her doing the skits, the WWE speed skits, were really, really good. I thought that was fun stuff. I really did. Anonymous says, I think the girls would fit in well in TNA since they need to beef up their knockouts division and are rebuilding. Wish them the best. Yeah, I think that both of them, like if you put them in the knockouts tag team division, immediately that would be good. Scott Woodford says gifted. Oh, you gifted. Thank you for gifting a YouTube membership. I post behind the scenes clips here. Pretty soon they're going to set it up to where you can gift Fightful Select subscriptions too, which I'm very stoked about. Broke Corbin was hilarious. The up, down, down title is cursed. I did an interview with him SummerSlam weekend, and we didn't even release it until like about a week or two ago because he wasn't on TV. There wasn't a need to release it. So if you want to check out effectively his last WWE interview, it is up here on youtube.com/Fightful. But I really liked the the bum ass Corbin thing. Oh, it was so good, man. Like he had the opportunity to take something that was like had potential, and he jumped all the way into it. A guy who has been a high-level athlete throughout his life in Baron Corbin and tried so many different things, from amateur boxing to grappling to playing football. Again, he played football at a high level. I mean, he was on the Colts and Arizona Cardinals, I believe, practice squad over the course of 3 years. So, I mean, it's not like it's not like he was struggling there. And I remember he signed with WWE about 11 months after he was released from his last NFL team. So this is a situation where, if he tried hard, he could have played pro somewhere during that time, and he wanted to come to wrestling. Crazy 101 says Corbin in Japan would be fire. He told me straight up he would love to do Bloodsport, and I would like to see him do that. But I actually think that Baron Corbin in Japan would be very good as well. Bad Robot says, I loved Indi social media stuff with Candace during the speed stuff. Oh, it was so good. Like her just trying to beat Candace in a variety of races and stuff. That's that was really good, clever stuff. Very good, clever stuff. So to be clear, it appears Candace and Tegan released. Baron effectively had his contract run out. Listen, Baron Corbin had a move set like you would you would die for on video games. If you were a generic creator wrestler and you had his move set, you didn't feel so generic anymore. Duck Shoes says he was also Jim Johnson's last theme, I believe. End of Days was so good. It was good. I really grew to like Baron Corbin on the Breaking Ground series. You want to talk about ahead of its time and very, very underrated. It was the Breaking Ground series. And I thought that Baron Corbin, as the guy that was too good to wrestle in high school gyms and didn't know the history of the indies, worked really, really well. And I remember one time when he wrestled Apollo, he said, go back to Ring of Honor. And Apollo never wrestled in Ring of Honor. But I thought that it added a lot. And we talked about it in our interview where why would he know that? Somebody said, Scott Woodford says, I would love to see Baron Corbin and Darren Corbin team. Darren Corbin is a wrestler on the independent circuit. I believe in the Chicago, Minnesota, he does a lot of those. But Baron Corbin won't be allowed to use Baron Corbin outside of WWE. He'll have to use something else. But I think they're the exact same age. I think, well, not exact same. You know what I mean. They're both 40. Delos, sorry, hiccups there. Sad we didn't get a Loomis Indi interaction now. Yeah, me too. Me too. But I mean, right now, as I've got the damn hiccups. Oh, man. It didn't fit for Indi to interact with the Wyatt family. We read that one. Luis, our great moderator, says Nixon Newell delivered when called upon in this recent run. So today's news is incredibly frustrating. She will take over in 2025. She will end up somewhere. I mean, I would imagine straight out of the gate, she'll have to get her visa situation handled, as will Indi, and have to, find a place, or first off, get that handled. And second off, find a place to work if they choose to stay here. But I would imagine TNA is going to come calling. They've got a bunch of people. They got a bunch of deals coming up soon, and they're going to have to restock. Ryan says, I like Indi, but she'd benefit the most with reps. Yes, she would, obviously. I mean, she got signed, I don't want to say young, fairly young, a few years into her WWE career, or into her pro wrestling career, that is. But since she was signed 5 years ago, she has had 134 matches that I see. And when you got signed 5 years ago, I mean, that's not that many reps for somebody that signed like 26 matches a year, 27 matches a year. Yeah, I think that she would be best served with some reps. And really, it was WWE's job to get her those reps. End of Days is a top 10 theme in the 2010s. Yeah, it was a good one. It was a good one. Man, him using the deep six. Good stuff, man. Really, really good stuff. Gonna hang around here a little bit longer for you guys, field some questions. Cheap plug, FightfulSelect.com. So here's the process of us doing this. Whenever there are releases like this, we post the information on our free tier of FightfulSelect.com. So that's available to tons of people. Even if you have canceled your Fightful Select subscription, you can retain a free one and you'll still see our headlines and get some free stories. You can always upgrade, but if we get supplemental information about it, that goes behind the paywall. But don't want to monetize the breaking news of someone losing their job, in that capacity. Eloquent says this is Dijak 2.0. I wish everybody thought Dijak was feeding me news, but we still get those those rundowns. Corbin went back to NXT, killed it, went back to the main roster, barely used, now gone. Yeah, I thought that he came out looking really, really good on his last main roster run and matches. I feel like they could have done more with him there, especially in the tag team with Apollo. Off topic, how is Jacob Fatu in Saudi? Well, because the general sports authority in Saudi, I mean, listen, it's ultimately tied into the government there. So any restrictions that Jacob Fatu could or would have faced were largely WWE can probably talk their way out of if they need to get him into Saudi. And I mean, we've heard in the past, like that was a big reason why his debut took so long. They were in so many international areas, but his legal issues were also a very long time ago. So WWE, I know, had been working hard to try to get those to no longer be an issue. Cool Fool says, are there any more releases coming? The internal claim of WWE is like not, I'm told that's it. I'm told I wouldn't be finding any more out effectively. Now, I don't know if that means that when Monday rolls around, they'll have more. Now, what I don't want people to do is to aggregate me saying, oh, maybe they'll have more Monday. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. And just so you guys know, any accounts out there that are pretending to be scoopsters and saying, well, yeah, they're planning for more then and that, they do not know. They do not know. I've broken, unfortunately, over 100 releases over the last 4 or 5 years. And at no point was I ever told, yeah, and there's more coming on like this date or something like that. Are Tegan and Indi cuts? Or are they not being renewed? It was implied to me that they were cuts. The person I spoke to within the company that confirmed it didn't use that term, but then people I have talked to subsequently have intimated that those were releases. Zaya, Lee, Indi, Tegan, all women Becky tried to lift up in her NXT run, all let go. That is unfortunate. That is unfortunate. And I mean, also, immediately after they lose Rhea Ripley to injury. And WWE has not spent a great deal of time nor resources developing the next contender for Liv Morgan. Unless it's going to be Tiffany Stratton cashing in or something like that. But yeah. Who do you think might be one if you had to guess? Listen, buddy, I am not fantasy booking somebody losing their job. That is not going to happen. Not here. That's not for me. JW Pringle said they had it out for Corbin since he was a GM, and they blamed very real issues backstage on him in storyline. Just my opinion. I don't think it's your opinion. They outright did that. When their show sucked ass, they went out there and they said, no more authority figures. You are the authority. And I thought Paige, now Saraya, was doing very good as an authority figure. I thought it fit her really well. Baron Corbin wasn't, because they booked him to just get heat. The whole show was heat. There was nothing rewarding watching that show at that point. So a guy that they already made you hate, you hate it even more because they booked him to be a terrible GM. Then they blamed their bad booking on him. Baron Corbin wasn't booking that show. We ain't dumb. If they wanted to do something with him, he could have stood up within storyline and said, this sucks. I need to do what reflects best on the show. I like this idea. Tim McFall says Nixon Newell, Tegan, and Zaya Brookside would be a great team and feud in TNA. And he has great comedic timing. Feels like a good fit for TNA too. There's always demand for a big man, let alone one with an S-tier moveset like Corbin. Corbin's going to get bookings. Corbin's going to get a lot of bookings if that's what he wants. I don't know if he wants to work the Indies. You got to keep in mind, this man has been in WWE for 12 years. He has been on the main roster since WrestleMania 32. So I would imagine he's also pretty smart with his money. But I wouldn't be surprised if he had been very smart with his money. But also, listen, MLW is going to come calling for him. There are going to be indies that come calling for him. TNA will probably come calling for him. I would imagine New Japan will want to take a look at him. Josh Barnett is probably going to be on the horn and getting him in for Bloodsport. Off topic, you see the photo floating around of Megan Bayne being under WWE ID. Can you look into that further? I have not seen anything about that. I have heard one name of which literally none of you have heard of that at least claims they are under WWE ID. Baron Corbin. You know what? Brett Lauderdale will be trying to bring him into GCW almost immediately. Oh, he'll be a great heel in GCW. Could we see a TNA WWE Survivor Series, please, one day? Yeah, I think you could eventually. Well, let's keep this related to the releases. I'll answer this because you spent money on it, and I don't want you to waste your money. But, I mean, as long as the partnership stays strong, partnership, it's a talent exchange is what both sides say it is. But I could see that happening probably more along the lines of an NXT side of things than anything. Indy's another NXT call-up in the draft. They seem to have no direction for on the main roster. Yeah, I would love for them to have an idea of what they're doing with her. That would make me happier if they actually had some semblance of an idea of what they're doing with someone along the way. Well, guys, we are going to wrap this one up. The SmackDown team will be live tonight after the show. I might swing by there as well. We're not going to live tweet that show. We feel it's like in kind of in poor taste to do that right now, but we will have the post show as well. I will provide Kate and Alex with some additional details. I'll be live here tomorrow for the WWE Crown Jewel show. So myself and Andrew Baydala will be reviewing that event. Hope you guys swing by. Hope you guys have a good time and enjoy that with us. Do you think Baron Corbin could be world champ? I feel like if him in the ring now existed 5 or 6 years ago, yes, I think he could have. Guys, thank you all so much. Subscribe to FightfulSelect.com. We're going to have a lot more news on this, and you can hang out with me in the Discord that we have there for members, as well as a bunch of other stuff. Until next time, my friends, we're out.